Welcome to Allie's Attic, where you never know what kind of surprise you'll find in my attic. I'm your host, Allie, and today my surprise is an actor from Sandusky, Ohio, who's done way more than just acting. I'm going to let him tell you all about it. Please welcome Steve Hamm. Hi, Steve.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much.
So basically, I'm going to kind of start this off, and then I just want you to tell us, because you've done all kinds of different things. Starting off with joining the Army after high school. So maybe take us from there to where you are right now.
Okay. Yeah. After graduating high school, I had a choice to either try to go to college or join the military. And after my doing some ROTC stuff in high school, and the fact that my dad used to be in the Air Force for a few years, I think all of that led me to be groomed for military service. So I had already enrolled before my graduation to go into the Army as a helicopter mechanic. So upon graduation, I had my full summer ahead of me, and then late August of that year, went ahead and joined the service as a helicopter mechanic, and I did that for about 8 years, which was pretty enjoyable. Of course, being around pilots all the time, you see what they do, and you get kind of like this bug to be a pilot. So the Army does have a program where you can apply for flight training, and so I looked into it and applied, and luckily for me, I got selected, and from that point on, I just continued my flying career. I was just a regular pilot for a few years, and then after a while, you get to the choice to branch out to a specific they call it track, basically, but it's a specialty type of job, and I chose to be a maintenance test pilot. So my job was to troubleshoot aircraft that were broken, figure out what's wrong with them, work with the mechanics to get them fixed, and then once they were fixed, if they're required to be started up and run up, I would do that, or do a test flight to make sure whatever was wrong functioned properly. So that was my job for the remainder of my time in service. Along with that, though, of course, after 9/11, deployments picked up for us, so I did 2 tours in Iraq, 2 tours in Afghanistan, and those were interesting times to say the least.
Yeah, I couldn't even imagine.
And I retired after 23 years because the deployments just really did me in, and the time away from home was really killing me. So I said at that point, enough's enough, and said I need to go and do other stuff.
So then after all of that, which, I mean, thank you for your service, first of all.
You're welcome.
After all of that, you retired, and then you started flying for Life Flight. And explain really what Life Flight is.
Yeah, actually I got hired with Life Flight just before I got out, so they were really looking for pilots. So basically, what that is we fly critically injured people either from hospital to hospital, or if they get involved in a vehicle accident, basically we call it a scene call, transfer them from the scene to a major hospital for their further medical attention or else. But yeah, it's a very exciting and rewarding job. We do day and night operations, and I work a 7-day on, 7-day off type of schedule. So it's it's a convenient, flexible schedule, and come up on the summer months here, which is called the trauma season. It's really going to pick up for us a lot. But I've seen some things that can be disturbing, especially when they involve the kids. That really hits close to home because I have a few of my own. And but it's very rewarding though, and I mean I really enjoy doing it.
Okay, so then from doing all of that, you caught the acting bug. So how did that happen?
Well, that's kind of a funny story. Say about 6 months before my retirement, I don't know, I guess I just got an idea to say, acting kind of sounds kind of cool right now. I'm not sure where it actually came from, to be honest with you, but so I was in Tennessee at the time, about to retire, and I looked for some acting workshops or places in the local area, and there were several up in the Nashville area. So I went through all the sites on the internet and found one that stood out, and basically it's called the Actors Workshop, and it's ran by a guy named Alan Dysert. He's a former full contract actor that was on a daytime soap, and he just opened up his own workshop basically to facilitate people in the Nashville area and the surrounding areas to help them, become actors, hone their skills and talent, and then hopefully, have them move on to bigger markets like New York and LA and whatnot. So I sent him an email. He said, hey, come on in, see what you like. And I did a 2-day weekend workshop. And basically we did what's called a cold read, which is they give you a script and you read through it and you don't really get a chance to rehearse it. So you're on camera and you're running the lines the best you can with another partner and you make the scene come alive. And it was really cool to be able to put yourself in someone else's shoes, be another character, be someone else, and then live that scene out, and just give you a chance to just kind of get away and, pretend. And that was really cool for me. And I really enjoyed doing it. So after that, I said, this is something I want to pursue. But I knew that, when you start as an actor, you're not getting paid, you're just fighting for work all the time. I'm like, well, I got bills to pay, so I need to find a day job. So once I got myself established up in Ohio with my life flight job and everything else, I looked for acting/modeling agencies in the area, and I found a couple in the Cleveland area. And I went to an open call for one of them one night, which basically you go there and you listen to their speech, you do a presentation about their company and what they do, whatever. And after that, then you go and have like a personal interview with one of the reps. And based on your look, and how you do the interview, they'll determine if they want to call you back and work with you. And fortunate enough for me that, my answers and my demeanor and character and the way I handle myself, they liked what they saw, so they called me back today and they'd like to work with you. So I signed with them, and that was late 2013. I've been with them ever since, and it's been quite a ride.
Wow, I would imagine. Now, you've taken a lot of training for acting, which is very impressive. Now, you've also done theater and stage. You did Anything Goes. You were an extra. In print.
Yep, I did that in high school.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah, it says Gibbs High School. Okay, so, and then in print, Davy Tree, Cedar Point, and Chevron, and David Ford Eyewear. Now, I'm going to put your picture up, obviously, on my website. Just so everybody knows, you have the Hollywood look. You're a very good-looking man. So, I mean, that is in your favor. Now and then.
Yeah, I hope so.
Oh, it is. Yeah. Now, web and new media. You did Momenta, and I don't know, what is Momentive?
That was just it was a corporate video shoot, and I did a scene with someone else, and they were just trying to promote a certain subject, and so they just took clips from different scenes to relay a message to their employees. That's what that was about.
Okay. So now let's talk about the films that you've been in, because you've been in quite a few. I'm not going to go off your resume because it doesn't give as much information as the other thing that you sent me. So I'm going to go off from that, and please correct me if I'm wrong. So you've done a debut speaking role in a motion picture as Anthony King in the independent film Crisis in the Valley, which was directed by David L. Walker. And filming of the sequel is completed, but a release date has not been set yet. Now, you've also been booked in several other projects. 2 Independents in Michigan, Memoirs of Roth City, it's a crime drama. And currently in production, Hypro, Revolt, it's a sci-fi web series. Currently, you're filming the pilot episode and another web-based YouTube Red series in New York, Cold Blooded. Is that correct? The pilot is currently in post-production?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you just finished filming Taken Over, which is a supernatural crime story directed by Harley Wallen of Painted Creek Productions, which a lot of us have heard of. And you play a tackling neighbor. What is a tackling neighbor? You tackle your neighbor?
Yeah. Apparently, there was a lady, or a girl, I should say, who's been so-called quote-unquote possessed, and she shoots my neighbor. And in defense, I come across the screen and tackle her down. So that was a fun scene, and we fun to practice tackling someone several times.
As long as nobody gets hurt. Okay, so and
No,
also
no, it was all done.
it was all, yeah, I guess they teach you how to do that. Now also a short indie film titled Buzzing in the Garage. You play Tom, a depressed IT employee, and this is planned for film festival submission. So I can't imagine, like, just hearing all these things that you do and the different roles you play, I can't imagine, I guess, acting like that. I don't know how to even explain it. I'm not an actress by any means. And I just couldn't imagine, especially in front of people and in front of cameras, I couldn't do it. So hats off to you for being able to.
Well, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Seriously.
Oh, I was just going to say that it was kind of funny about that, or ironic actually, is that I grew up very introverted. I was always, the guy on the side, didn't want the spotlight, and was anytime the spotlight was on me, I'd break out in a cold sweat and like, oh my God, shift the attention somewhere else, not me, whatever else. So I'd say with acting, it especially in front of the camera, it gives you a good sense of confidence. It shows you and gives you a chance to be vulnerable, and that's one thing that people don't like to do is vulnerable in front of other people. Mm-hmm. And once you can let your vulnerability show, and get into the character that you need to be and whatever else, you basically kind of like totally forget that the cameras are there, whatever. You can get into the scene, and you just do it. And once you get that escape going, it's just like I don't know. It's like quite a rush, actually. If I have to compare it to something, I guess.
Wow, I can imagine. I was in radio for 18 years. I'm behind the mic. I like being there.
Yeah.
Now also,
each his own.
Yeah, exactly. Now also, you've been booked in a Texas-based project called Crooked, and you're going to be playing the role of a young politician.
Yeah, that's they're still trying to get that going up. It's another indie project, and that's one issue with indie projects is getting the funding going. So that's probably, I think, on hold for a little bit right now. So I have to keep looking for other work at the same time.
Okay, and then the mystery that I'm intrigued about. You're working on several other projects, and you can't get into specifics about them. So I guess we're going to have to wait and see what happens and where you're going from there. Now,
yeah, basically.
Yeah. I'm not going to push, even though I'm a very curious person. Now, your goal is to be in like major motion pictures. That's what most actors and actresses would love. Have you kind of got into contact with people that could maybe put you there? Or, I guess that's a work in progress, right?
Yeah, that definitely is. I as an actor, you got to network yourself to get yourself out there, whatever else. So, you can get on Twitter and LinkedIn and Facebook, and just, type in for search, for casting directors or producers or whatever else, and names come up, and you can connect with them, and I've learned that, you try to connect with them and then you try to develop a relationship with them, don't say, if they agree to follow you or accept your friendship, don't go ahead and just shoot them your headshot and resume and say, hey, I'm available for your next project, because that's kind of like you're in it just for yourself. So they send them my stuff, or I'll send an invite to my professional, Facebook actors site, whatever else. And then, go down their page, and see what they're posting, whatever else, and like some stuff, and engage, conversation, whatever else, and just try to get a relationship going. And then, at some point, if it leads to somewhere, then great, but it's a patience game, and I'm more into the quality rather than the quantity at this point. So
yeah, okay.
But, there was there's one project that was advertised about with Star Wars. They're doing another installment that deals with like the Han Solo character, directly or about him, I should say. And so I found that submission info, and I put my pack together and I sent it off to a casting company in California, but. Not sure, where that's going to go, and it may not go anywhere, and that's fine, but I never gave it a shot. Luckily, the writer's strike is over with, so we can all get back in business to making movies now.
Exactly. And you've got to take every chance you can get, right?
Oh, yeah, that's for sure. Actually, a friend of mine that's in Columbus, she recommended a or she told me about a role in a Pennsylvania project recently that I guess an actor had dropped out of it. So I sent a submission tape for it, and I got a callback email just this morning about it that they want to move forward with me as far as an additional additional audition, I should say, to see if I can pull off the way they want me, the way they redirected me.
No.
So if I can, ship them that I can do what they're looking for, then if I get booked for it, then more power to me. So you never know when an opportunity will come around the corner in this game.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I mean, from reading about you and seeing your picture and seeing the picture where you're decorated from being in the Army was amazing. And I could just see the perfect role for you would be, like, an Army kind of movie where you're in a helicopter and you're doing all these, deployments and so on and so forth.
There was a couple of audition requests for casting calls for like real pilots in my Atlanta projects. The only problem though is that I submitted for them, and it would be nice to get them. But I think because that if they hire the local Atlanta actors, they get an actual like credit or film credit for tax purposes. So even though I probably would have been qualified, if they would have used me out of state, then they wouldn't have been able to probably claim it. So things like that happen. So I just have to say, well, if they like me, great. If not, then move on to the next. Unfortunately.
Wow, I never knew that. So they try to hire local then, basically, because they get kind of a rebate, is what you're saying, kind of.
Yeah, they'll put in the casting call that must be a local actor, or if you're not, then don't submit whatever else. And so obviously don't submit because they're just going to throw you out or throw your packet out or delete your email, whatever the case. So
okay. So basically, I guess it's just a game of sending, and praying.
That's it. I mean, this industry is a 99.9% rejection rate for anything. The only thing you can control is when you do your audition, whether it's self-submission through videotape, where you go into a room, and you're in there for let's say 5 or 10 minutes, do your thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's your time. You take charge, you control whatever else, and you give them what you think they want to see. And once you walk out, the best thing to do is just forget it and move on to the next, because you keep dwelling on it, and nothing happens, then you're just going to find yourself in a depression. It's like, that's just not worth it, I mean, there's things you can't control, maybe you didn't have the right look, or maybe they're having a bad day, whatever else. I mean, you just don't know. So you just have to roll with the punches,
Yeah, exactly. I can also see you in a soap opera. That was one of the other things when I was looking through everything. I could totally
see. I've been told that a couple of times as well. So.
Yeah, like you could be.
Yeah.
Now,
that would be, I wouldn't mind. That'd be cool. I mean, I could probably do that.
Yeah, well, why not? I couldn't imagine memorizing the lines. Isn't that, like, how, I don't know how you guys, any actor or actress does that. Like, how do you, and make it look believable? I guess that comes all from training and instinct, or?
Yeah, that comes with some training experience. Everyone has their own technique, and what works for me is, if depending on how many pages it is, or whatever else, I'll sit down and I'll read through the whole entire script or the scene first, just to get an idea of what it entails, whatever else, to get a feel for it. Then I'll make little notes to myself, to say because there's certain words and terms I use of what you're supposed to do or how you're supposed to act, whatever else. So I'll just make a note of that, whatever else. And then I usually take a notebook or a notebook out, whatever else, and I'll just start. I'll highlight what my lines are, and then I'll just write them out in a notebook like 5 or 10 times, just to kind of get them into my memory bank, whatever else, so to speak. And once I do that, then I kind of get it down a little bit. Then I'll just go page by page and start memorizing lines. But once you have them memorized, then I work the scene. It's like once I know what the lines are, I can act out the scene a lot better. So I'm not trying to think of what the next line is. I already know what's coming up. I can more or less concentrate on the acting, the emotional side of how to deliver it. So I think that's how most professional actors, putting their technique, that's how they get it done, So.
Wow. That would take a lot of brain power.
When I was in the military, we, for pilot training, you had to memorize all your emergency procedures, and so when you had your evals come up, the instructor would say, okay, this is what's going on, so what's your procedure? And if there was an underlying procedure, you had to be able to tell them, verbatim. And you have to know what your, we had something called operating limits, which are the numbers that, like for your pressures and your temperatures, you have to know what all the ranges were or whatever else. And So you're required to memorize those. So between that and then I went to the test pilot course, we were required to, believe it or not, pretty much have the whole entire test pilot checklist memorized and all the cautions and the warnings and notes and everything. So you were really, you learn really quickly how to memorize lines.
Ah, so you have experience at least with doing that.
Yeah, a little bit.
Now, when you play a character and you've got all your lines memorized, how do you draw? Like, I mean, I've heard of, well, we all hear of actors doing crazy things to get into a role and into a character, including even, if they're portraying somebody that's in jail, they actually go and visit them and so on and so forth. So how do you get into character?
A lot of research, actually. It's crazy when I read a scene, I can almost visualize how the scene's going to work. And that can be a blessing and a curse at the same time, because once you have it in your mind of how you think it's going to look, the director may change his mind, and if you committed lines a certain way, the way you think it's supposed to be, and they change it on you, you got to be able to adjust. So you got to be careful with that. But I'll research the material or the character or ask around whatever else just to get a feel for who the character is. And if it's like a hypothetical type of project, then I'll email the director or whatever and say, hey, look, give me a background or bio on this character, which is what I did for this Pennsylvania project as well. I said, hey, what's this guy like? And they told me, and I'm like, okay, well, that's totally opposite from how I usually am. And it's actually good that it is like that, because it gives you a chance to break your mold. And, if you don't even agree with the character's personality or behavior, you might just tap into it and just go over the top, and just be somebody else and, say, hey, look, here's what I came up with, and do you like it? And it's challenging, but it's fun at the same time.
Yeah, I guess it would be. And I mean, it's kind of an escapism in a way.
What's that?
It's kind of like escaping in a way.
Yeah, it sure is. Yeah, it's a lot of work though, and a lot of people would think that actors are overpaid people for what they do, whatever else, but they do get paid a lot, but they're getting paid as professionals. They're getting paid to know their lines, to know how to work on a set, and do the right thing, whatever else. So, it's just the name of the game. It's like, well, if you're so jealous or if you think it's whatever, you tried. And a lot of people wouldn't even realize just how difficult the job really is. I mean, it's not you see the accolades, the after parties or the premieres, whatever else, and that's all fun. That's a great part of it, but all the work goes into it can be tremendous.
Well, and I mean, I've seen people go through body changes where they have to lose a whole bunch of weight or where they have to gain a whole bunch of weight. So, I mean, yeah, there is a lot involved, and I don't think, some people maybe realize how hard it is. I do, because I couldn't imagine being one, because I would not be able to remember the lines. I don't know if I could get into character. So, yeah, I mean, hats off to you and to all the actors and actresses out there, because, yeah, I couldn't imagine. It sounds like a very hard job and very demanding on your body and your mind.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So I'm going to put up on my website how to find you, so that people can check you out. Now, one other thing, you should think about doing voiceovers. You have an excellent voice, just saying.
Thanks.
So.
I actually did try it at one point, but voice acting is a lot more difficult than people think it is. You have to live the scene out, and I actually did do a couple of voiceover auditions, but I think at that point I was still pretty new in the game, and I was still, I wouldn't say uptight is the right word, but I wasn't able to really let myself go and be that character or whatever else. So it takes a lot of practice and training, but it's definitely something I wouldn't mind getting into as well. I mean, voice acting is just it's a different realm, but it's fun too. I mean, all the acting stuff is really fun. It's just you gotta develop a feel for it, and if it's if something you're starting out in and you're not really comfortable with it, then maybe not do it. I mean, it's not for everyone, but if you get really good at it, though, it can be fun.
Yeah, no kidding. Now, if there was anybody that you could act with, not to put you on the spot, just to satisfy my curiosity, who would it be? I mean, I'm sure there's tons of them. And I mean, for me, if I was an actress, if there was anybody in the world that I could act with, just because I think he is an amazing human being, it would be Leonardo DiCaprio. Just because of his beliefs, and I absolutely love him. So, who would it be for you?
I don't have a specific one, actually. Some of my favorite movies, though, are, I'd say a lot of the greats, though. I wouldn't, Al Pacino would be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name? I'm sorry. Gladiator. Russell Crowe. He would be interesting to work with. And then, names are escaping me these days, but the current James Bond character or actor, I forget his name off the top of my head.
Oh, God.
But,
I know.
really cool.
Yeah, I can see him, but I can't think of his name.
Yeah, Denzel Washington would be really cool to work with, you know? I mean, these guys, you know, they've mastered their craft, you know, and it's like, you know, to be with someone of that stature, you know, professionalism would just be amazing. I mean, I've seen, like, you know, those Man on Fire multiple times. It's, like, awesome, you know, and I watched his latest, you know, The Equalizer. I'm like, God, you know, it's not just, you know, an action movie. I mean, the guy, you know, he's just there, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, when you see the behind the scenes, you know, what he was doing behind the scenes, you know, keeping up with all of the training and everything else required to do the stuff he was doing. I mean, it's just, you know, being a consummate professional is just, it's inspiring. You know, wow, that's really cool. And so when I see actors like that, that's, you know, what keeps me going in this business. Like, you know, I'm not worried about the whole, you know, A-list thing or, you know, pop, you know, all that good stuff, whatever else, you know, just to be able to be recognized, you know, and say, hey, look, that guy can act. You know, we want him in this movie, or, you know, whatever director is like, because he's going to do the job. He's not going to give me a hard time, you know, and it's going to be a great project. So that's my goal.
Well, good. And I mean, hopefully this helps coming on my show. And,
Well, hopefully.
yeah, and I mean, your looks, you'd think that directors would take a look at you, and not just your looks, but I mean your background, and want to put you in a movie, because I know it would draw an audience. Like, no doubt in my mind. So I hope.
I really appreciate that. I mean, I really do. The only thing, though, is that I don't get very many requests for military type of projects, which is kind of strange. But
yeah,
you know, hey, you know, I'll take what I can get. Although, you know, I have my limits to what I'll do on screen. That's for sure. I mean, there's just some things I just won't do. So.
Well, and I mean, there's a lot of actors and actresses out there that there are some things they won't do. Then come in the body doubles. Anyway, I want to thank you so much for your time, Steve. I think that you're an amazing human being.
No problem.
Everything that you've done, and still fighting for life flight and saving lives, and pursuing this with as much heart as you can. I think it's just amazing. So getting a chance to hear
about you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, and getting a chance to hear about you and discover you, and thanks to Monica, I'm really glad that I had you on, because it gives us a different kind of...
Yeah, Monica's great. I mean, she's gone above and beyond, you know, helping me out, so hats off to her as well.
Yeah, and she does the same thing for me. She's an amazing lady, and she's got a heart of gold, so I'm really glad she introduced me to you.
Sure. I agree.
Yeah. Okay, so I wish you the best of luck. I'm hoping that, you know, sometime next year I'm sitting in front of my TV watching a movie with you in it. And when I...
Well, as a matter of fact, I mean, I can't get into this too much, but I was an extra in a recent, I guess kind of a big project. I'm not going to mention the name because that's up on the cutting room floor, then I'm kind of out of luck. But I was an extra in the film. The scene was at the end, toward the end of the movie, and ended up going from just an extra to a featured extra. So I was actually in the camera shot as well with one of the main actors. So when this film hopefully comes out sometime till later this year, or whatever else, I'll make sure I make a post about it. But hopefully I get to see myself in the big screen that way. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, and if you do like land a major role, my door's always open. So you've got me on Twitter. You can contact me, and we'll bring you back on, and we'll talk about it and get everybody jazzed up to go watch it.
Sure, no problem.
Yeah, definitely. Like you do. You have me on Twitter. So now you have a Facebook?
I do. Yep. It's just my professional page is the Stephen with the V. P is in Peter or Paul Hamm, Hamm. That's the professional page, and you can still just look me up on regular Facebook as well.
Okay.
Just type in Stephen Hamm, and it should come up.
Okay. And I'm going to put your website up there. Now, it's a little bit of a different website, so I'm going to test it out before I put it up there and make sure that it goes directly to you.
Okay.
And you are on Twitter, so people can, get a hold of you on Twitter. And once
at Steve_Hamm5.
Yes. And if they want to find you, they can go through me too, because I've got you on my list. Now I'm gonna, once I have this up and edited and everything else, it I will put it up on my website, like I said, and I will tag you in Twitter. And I urge you to retweet it and get your fans to retweet it as much as possible, because the more they do, the more you get out there.
I will definitely retweet the heck out of it. Don't you worry about that. But I do really appreciate it, though. I mean, it means a lot to me.
Oh, yeah, no, I appreciate you coming on. I have 2 Facebook accounts that'll be on, as well as my Instagram. So people will hear about you.
Okay, that's great.
Okay, so thank you again,
Yeah,
Steve.
Sure, no problem, anytime.
Okay, and thank you for...
I really appreciate you. Really appreciate you having me on. I'm honored and humbled at the same time for that privilege.
Oh, well, thank you so much. So am I. Okay, I'm going to get all teary-eyed here. See, that's why I could never be an actress.
I'm doing my job right then.
Okay, so thank you for joining me on Allie's Attic. Keep checking my website, because you never know what kind of surprises you'll find in my attic. Cheers!